We're on all. Thanks for tuning in once again. So Beterbiev versus Bivol, it's fight week. I've dropped a couple of videos on this one. Here's another one. Beterbiev, I want to talk about how he beats Bivol in this fight. And mind you, both guys can win. It's one of those fights where both guys are great fighters. But Beterbiev, you have to really understand, this guy, although he's 39, he's a guy that comes at you and he doesn't really let you get away. When he hurts you, it's very hard to avoid him because of the devastating power. The velocity of the punches really shakes guys up. And not only that, we can talk power, we can talk about 100% knockout ratio. Let's talk about technique. Beterbiev, a guy that he steps forward with the jab. Okay, so he's the shorter fighter. He's been fighting a lot of bigger guys. Steps inside the pocket with the jab. Forcefully opens the front door. This isn't a case where he's knocking on the door, seeing his home. No, he's forcefully coming inside the door. Right, once he gets you in the danger zone, it's very hard to avoid him because, he switches. He's a switcher. In other words, he'll start a combination in the orthodox stance. He'll finish in a southpaw stance in some occasions. He's a great feinter. And most importantly, he knows how to read the play. He knows where to move. I don't think that people understand how good he really is. It's a guy that when he fought Usyk in the amateurs, believe it or not, Usyk was the underdog. We know now Usyk's pound for pound number one, in many people's eyes. So, Beterbiev, he's definitely, a different fighter. He's a very rare fighter where he can hurt you with both hands. Even though he's short, he knows how to, like I say, invite himself inside the pocket, and also switch combinations. He's a switcher, and he can move in a way where he's always there. Because he has lateral movement. If you're circling left and right, he basically moves with you. So in other words, this is why I say Bivol needs to throw 3-punch combinations and then, move out of the pocket, changing angles, because Beterbiev, once he figures you out, once he lands, I think that for Bivol, because we've seen him get rocked from Joe Smith Jr., he came out next round firing, didn't he? So, he definitely fights off emotion at times. So, if Beterbiev is able to land and Bivol gets frustrated, starts letting his hands go, he may think that these punches aren't affecting him, but the mind sometimes disagrees with the body. The body's going to do funny things. The mind's going to think he's in the fight. And I think that just the consistency of damaging punches, is going to really shake him up. Think Joshua Dubois, when Joshua got knocked out the first round, knocked down I should say, the punches that Dubois kept landing round after round, didn't allow Joshua to recover. In other words, this is why Beterbiev is such a destructive puncher, because he keeps throwing big punches, not just big haymakers, signature punches. No, he's throwing power jabs, he's throwing hooks to the face, hooks to the body. His feints are great. Think Canelo, he always seems to knock guys down early, doesn't he? Because he knows how to feint to the body and then, hits to the head. Beterbiev's exactly the same, he knows how to do that, but also switch, and the angles that he throws are very hard to read because he likes to punch behind the guard, and then he also comes, with sort of liver shots, just funny angles, he will throw big body punches constantly. If you watch the Usyk versus Beterbiev fight, it's only a 3-rounder. This is in the amateurs, Beterbiev's able to drop him. Beterbiev's able to hurt him, rock him. And mind you, this is with headgear on. This guy is different. He punches different. Numbers don't lie, 100% knockout ratio. So, I'm not saying that Bivol, can't win. All I'm saying is that Beterbiev, once he gets inside the door, inside the pocket, and I think that once he lands on Bivol, because he will definitely land, he's not going to just land one punch, he's going to land different varieties, different angles. He's going to try to throw punches where he does land, and he will land for sure. Once he lands, I think that Bivol's going to react to formation. Although he is, like I say, he is a guy that sticks to his game plan. As Mike Tyson says, your game plan goes out the window when you get punched in the mouth, This is why I say he will fight off emotion. I think a lot of his fighters do that, because they get shook up so badly. They're not expecting that sort of power. They think they're in the fight, and then they try to exchange. You can't exchange with a guy like that with just letting your hands go. You have to fight smart. And this is how Usyk beat him, because he's a smart fighter. You have to fight smart. There's no room for error. And you got to constantly circle left to right. You can't just move one way or move backwards. Beterbiev's the most dangerous coming forward. So it's a guy that you got to keep him in the center sort of, but you can't allow him to chase you down. So it's a very hard fight for Bivol. It's a hard fight for Beterbiev as well. Don't get me wrong, but I just think that his power is what is going to be the game changer in this fight. I'm not saying it's going to be a 6-round fight, I'm just saying that once he gets inside the door, once he starts catching him, I don't think that Bivol is going to be able to withstand that pressure of just constantly getting hit. And I think that Beterbiev's got a great motor on him. He knows how to keep up with the pace. Guys that have picked up the pace, he knows how to keep up with them. When he's being dropped, he comes back out firing. So it's not a guy that's going to tire out. It's not Zile Zhang tiring out after 6 rounds. It's a guy that's going to take you possibly to the championship rounds if it gets there. And eventually, I believe that he will win by knockout or stoppage. I think that Bivol is definitely going to, put up a good fight. But I think that once he hits him, once he hurts him, I think he won't be able to escape that sort of pressure, from a guy that punches that hard. If the fight goes the distance, I think that Bivol wins because he is a better boxer, but I don't think that Beterbiev will allow to go the distance. And I think that round 9, round 8 maybe, if Bivol's still in the fight, he needs to try to pick up the pace. But I think that from round 8 onwards, Beterbiev starts really, taking him down, breaking him down, and knocking him out.